All right, welcome back to the party, everybody. This is Morty, and I am your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Everybody hit that like and subscribe. You know I would do it for you, and let's party. Big shout out to the replay gang. Thank you so much for coming back to watch this, even though you missed the live party, guys. That is the best part, so make sure you are here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, and sometimes whenever I feel like it. So hit that subscribe, ring the bell, and you will never miss an Indian Jesus live party ever again. Also, head to theindianjesus.com for your very own The Indian Jesus official merch, including our South Park style design, whatever you want to call it, only at theindianjesus.com. All right. Let's party, guys. We have got a guest, as you can see, Mike Harlow. Welcome to the party. For those who may not know who you are, who are you? What do you do? And where can people find you?
Hey, my name's Mike. You can find me on YouTube at just my name, Mike like Tyson, Harlow like Gene, or on the Twitters, which I guess now identifies as X. You said TwiX, which I like that. I like TwiX, but I am not Mike Harlow on there because I've been banned so many times. I had to be not Mike, and I think now people might think I am Mike.
A little bit of covert action. Love it. We got Chris Rowland in the building. Welcome. Say Frozen Foods Matter. We got Zippy the Strange. Welcome, Guam Tech. We got M169. Welcome to the party, guys. So Mike, I'm very excited to have you here. Obviously, you know, you were just on the Timcast IRL. I'm sure that was awesome. I definitely want to talk a little bit about that. But the main reason I wanted to talk to you was because you had recently gone through a big move. And, you know, we hear a lot about this type of move, and a lot of people are doing it, and a lot of other people want to do it, but are too scared to. So let's just go back to the beginning. And as far as I understand, you were more on the left until like 2016, 2017, right?
Yeah. That was around, I think that was around the time a lot of people started waking up to all of this. That's when the identity politics ramped up, the censorship, the political correctness. For a lot of people, it was Trump also. So
yeah. And so what really pushed you to get red pilled?
Oh God, just reality. I think for me, it was a couple things, I guess. First of all, like I said, the political correctness was so suffocating. You could not say a word suddenly every minute of every day. I was one of these words that I'd never been called in my life before. And every day I'm a racist, a sexist, homophobic. I always tell them homophobic is the only one that's true.
Right, fair enough.
That one I admit, but that was part of it. And then the other part, which I guess this kind of relates to how terrible New York has gotten, is sort of life experiences that led me to it. Like I had a break-in in my apartment and I had to move out right away. So I rented a room. I go there. It's in the projects. So sort of seeing all of these things up close.
And then you moved to Florida, it is, right?
Well, that was years ago. I moved here like 10 days ago.
Oh, okay. So that's
very new.
Very new. Word up. Well, you know, I was, being that you are so new, what are some of the things that you've noticed that are different that you know helped you realize that you did in fact make the right decision?
God, just that people aren't miserable. Like you see eyes and you see smiles and you see people who aren't hating life. And I was just saying to my friend that I'm staying with here, it's so crazy walking down the street and not seeing piss running down it, or not seeing shit, or like, you know.
Yeah. And you'd think that that's something that would go without saying. And for a long time, it did. You would expect not to see piss and shit all over the streets in any city. And then slowly that changed. And did you want to move for a long time, or was there some big thing that happened like with the apartment that was like, all right, enough is enough?
No, that was a long time ago. I think I sort of was like the last man standing in New York. Like all my friends moved and it had just gotten so terrible for so long. But even until the moment I got on the plane, I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this. For me, because I'd always lived in New York City, that the idea of living anywhere else felt like living on Mars.
Yeah, I totally get that. And in the like, I'm a suburban kid, so
where are you from? I was just gonna ask.
I'm from Jersey, from Central Jersey. Don't let them tell you there's no such thing as Central Jersey.
Yeah, there is.
Jersey all day. Yeah, and I'm born and raised, and I've traveled a decent amount, but especially within the country. But I've always just found it home here. And I'm getting to the point, especially with these winters, I'm just ready to be out of here. And I think that the the fact that we are still at a state or at a stage where we are the United States, with this idea of national divorce coming, it's definitely a good time to to get out. And as we were saying, it's strange. New York City tries so hard to help.
That is a good.
It starts to act like that. Yeah. Who was I just talking to? I was just talking to somebody the other day about so many of these democratic establishments, these democratic institutions, these things that the Democrats are doing seem to be like, hey, there's this problem, and we have the solution. Only we have the solution. Everyone's like, there's a problem. What? Yeah. They're super racist. Like, oh. Yeah, I mean, I've seen racism before. Like, yeah, actually, it's way more, and we're the only ones that can help it, and everybody else is the evil racist, and it's just so all encompassing that I don't understand how. I mean, I guess I do understand how people are locked in, but some of the people who I would expect to be able to see what's going on, just the whole we're not ever able to leave the left.
I think a lot of them are in too deep at this point, because I mean, once you've people disconnected from their families, especially in 2020, people disconnected from their families and cut off their friends and have splintered relationships with their children or their parents or their spouse. So what are they going to say at that point? Like, oops.
Yeah.
I mean, they should, but I think that takes some humility, which the average person might not have.
Yeah.
Is Jersey, by the way, like a little bit better off, or has it gone to shit as much as?
Well, again, being more of a suburban kid, there's a lot more of a mix. Like the cities in Jersey are not great at all.
Like
but
Newark,
like Newark, Camden, Trenton, you don't want to. But who voted number one? I think number one most dangerous city in the country. Camden, New Jersey, as of, I don't know, a few years ago. I don't know. I doubt that's still the case. Shout out to Leah Cole. Welcome to the party. Said hello to the Indian Jesus and Mikey. Thank you so much for having Mike Harlow on your show. You've got someone truly amazing and special on today. Indeed.
I'm overrated.
Shout out to Leah Cole. Thank you so much, Mike, for being here.
Thank you for having me. By the way, parentheses, I just have to say, you have the most epic voice. Like, have you been a radio announcer? If not, you need to be.
Nope. No, I think it just came from just talking a lot. I didn't always have that. I know exactly what you're talking about because it's something that I kind of have to put on, and it's become more natural over the years. But I mean, specifically, I remember like my my college orientation. I was going in and I'd always been the shy, quiet kid. And I was just like, I'm not going to do that here. I'm going to, this is a fresh start and whatever. So I went in and I just acted like I was always some confident person. And there was something that in me that I didn't know that I could, kind of turn on. And then ever since then, I'm like, oh, okay, this is a little bit more fun. I feel a little bit more like me like this. And been me ever since, and it's definitely pushed some people away. But as you can see,
screw them, basic bitches.
Exactly. We got the right kind of people here. Shout out again to Leah. So I think so I don't want to out you here, but you are a part of the LGBT community.
No. I am part of any alphabet cult. I am part of any alphabet cult. I am a man who has the sex with the men No letters for me.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I mean, maybe not in a while between you and I. However,
fair enough. Fair enough. Shout out to Virgil Kane all the way over from Manchester, England. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party. We also got Indie Film in the building. Got a face for radio. Yep, that's that'll work for you. That'll work for you.
I have a voice for silent films.
But what were we just saying?
Camden, Jersey, radio, college.
Oh yeah.
Alphabet people.
Yes. So you're not part of the community, but you happen to be more you would consider yourself conservative.
My friend, you should talk to my friend Peter Feliciano. He has a show called Conservative-ish. That's me. I'm conservative.
That's perfect. That's perfect. And so I bring all of this up to say that I think you and I are not in the same boat, but in similar boats, in the sense that because of the strong Christian background of the just broadly speaking the cultural right, I'm an atheist, and being gay is not allowed, and so definitely over the years a lot of people have been more accepting of both things. But how is that how has that really affected your journey in terms of realizing that the left is full of shit? And that politically the right has better ideas, but there's also some bullshit over on this side as well.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of us, like, do you consider yourself conservative, really?
I'm right in that exact same. I just stopped fighting it. I call myself a 2015 liberal. Like, I was all for. I voted for Hillary Clinton, not knowing any better. But yeah, so I'm very much in the Timcast camp.
Nice. Yeah, no, I think that's most of us, that we wouldn't be considered particularly conservative unless the left were so insane just by not being communists. Oh, right. Thanks, Chris. Yeah, these people are insane. But I think in terms of like gay people and stuff, I always hated them, even when I was a liberal. So
why is that?
Because they're horrible, horrible people. They're just miserable, miserable people. Have you had the same experience with the homos?
I mean, I don't have. I've known a few gay people here and there, and they've seemed to be happy. They've seemed to be enjoying themselves. I've definitely seen the online version of like the you got to put it out there and all that stuff. But no, generally, I've had good experiences with gay people. But I will say they're few and far between.
Let me say, by the way, like, how do I put this? Typically, the more conservative gays, I would say on average, are sometimes occasionally better. Mm-hmm. However, you will also have these ones who, like, they have followers for taking their clothes off. Everything they post is them taking their clothes off. And between pictures of them with their junk hanging out is these preachy tweets about, oh, it's so terrible how people sexualize themselves. Right. I could never be like one of you degenerate gays. Like, shut up.
I completely understand when it comes to this, in terms of shout out to the Front Porch Conservative. Welcome to the party. Good God, Harlow hasn't been down in Florida for 2 weeks yet. He's already drinking sweet tea. Next thing you know, he's gonna have to. He's gonna adopt the Miami Vice from the '80s look. There you go. There you go.
It is a spiked sweet tea. Thank you, Jenny, for making this for me.
Dilly to that. Oh, we love our dilly over here. So just that idea of kind of being on the outside. I definitely see what you mean about not wanting to be associated with the LGBT community or any community associated with that kind of stuff. Because I also don't, as much as I own the label of being an atheist, I am not somebody, typically that makes people think, oh, you think that that there's no God, where really it just means that I don't have a God belief. And I'm very, I was brought up in Christianity, and so the values that are there that specifically are present in politics I think they're great values. I just don't believe in a man upstairs. And you'd be surprised how many people will push you away because of that. Have you not seen that kind of bigotry being gay?
You mean from the right?
Yeah.
I think now it's kind of starting up again a little bit, which I mean, how could it not when, we're presented to the world as LGBT, we are one, we're all the same, they get to leech on to us to gain credibility. So who wouldn't become homophobic?
That's actually a really good point, because, I've noticed lately that I definitely was, one of the typical, militant atheist, gotta yell at everybody who believe, oh, you're stupid for believe. We all go through that phase. Yeah, we all go through that phase, especially if you were born into the church. There's some of that rage that's just gotta come out, and you gotta get. But you get over that, and you're like, oh, okay, it's not that they're bad people, it's not that they're stupid. There's culture around it, and it's just the frustration that it's like, guys, I believe essentially the same things as you. Certainly in terms of the values that we have, it's the same. And you say it's boiling up more now, and I guess I haven't really seen it, but I've noticed that it's been a little bit more present, and that makes sense, because definitely, in terms of the LGBT, the trans stuff has been really thrown in people's faces. But you also see a lot of people moving towards religion as a kind of shelter from that. And I guess, what you're saying there also has to do with the atheism. I'm just kind of putting the pieces together. Yeah, I guess people are finding their teams. People are finding their teams.
Yeah. I will say too, though, I think like there's a segment of that, but for me personally, when I walked away from the left, I felt so much support and acceptance from a place that I wouldn't have expected it from Christians and conservatives. So I just want to say there are a lot of very accepting ones also.
Absolutely. And I would say that's and again, coming from the atheist boat, that more often than not, it is completely accepted. But there's definitely a contingency of, if you're not a Christian conservative, that believes this, and this, then it's not the same type of conformity that you see on the left, where you have to have all these opinions. But it's just like individually, it feels like people are not about it. Shout out to Snafu. Welcome to the party. Miami sucks. Why does Miami suck?
I've never been there. I'm going there for the first time next week.
Nice. What kind of things do you have planned as to kind of really, I don't know, do you have anything to say, bam, I'm here in Florida?
Not yet. God, my head is still kind of spinning that I still can't believe I actually just, packed a couple suitcases and came here. So I don't know. I'm sort of figuring it out as I go along. But I'm going to be on Luke Rodowski's show next week, though.
So nice. Shout out to Luke. We are big fans of Luke here. That's awesome. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Bill said, I mean, the evangelical wing of conservatism definitely exists, but they no longer represent the bulk of conservatives like perhaps they once did. Definitely agree. Yeah.
It is, though, kind of like, there's a reason that the left controls everything. The Republicans and the right are kind of the only group on earth who constantly tries to make themselves smaller. That there's all these purity tests. There's all who can be a conservative, who can. I'm like, just pretend just for like a couple of years, pretend you're Democrats, do what they do. Democrats do as they're told. They all get on the same page. They all vote together. They voted for an actual demented corpse.
Yep. And they were happy about it. They want to vote for him again.
They don't care.
Shout out to Granny Panties. Welcome. Love the name. So I wanted to present you with kind of my overall thesis of what I think can really fix political discourse. And I'll just throw it at you, and you give me your thoughts on where it could be better, or do you love it? Do you want to throw out the whole thing? So basically, my thesis is that there's two main things that have really gotten in the way of political discourse in general, but specifically political discourse. Being one being dogmatic thinking, whether you believe that there's a man in the sky or you believe that a male can transform into a female, if you're not willing to question those beliefs, if you hold those as axiomatic, that's dogmatic, and we can't operate that way. So that's number one. And then two is semantic obfuscation, or it's sometimes people will call it linguistic creep. meaning changing the words, the meaning of words, or the way that we use words. The easiest example is racist. Racist used to mean specifically bigotry by race, and now it just means anything that I don't like.
Well, and Nazi, fascist, even less loaded terms than that. Just a word as simple as problematic. What does that mean when they say that? They have a meaning within their cult that they all recognize what that means. What does that actually mean, though?
Interesting. Yeah, and that's exactly semantic obfuscation. So shout out to C Therion here. It said, I don't think you're truly recognizing all the fractions of the left. Most leftist principles are not represented under the Democratic. I can't fucking talk. Many in the left would not feel represented by the Democratic Party.
But I think they still ultimately vote for them.
Yeah, that's the problem, is that there might be talk online about, hey, I'm not going to support this thing, that thing. But at the end of the day, who's the fucking president? It's certainly not anybody that would be, if he wasn't in that position. Nobody on the left would like this random guy named Joe Biden who's racist and all this stuff. I mean,
they pretend to. Leftists constantly live in a perpetual land of make believe.
Yeah, it's crazy. I
don't, baby.
Yeah, that's my co-host Morty here. And guys, don't forget that every single super chat or donation comes with a treat for Morty.
Oh my God, super chat the man.
Right? Woodrow said problematic still equates to they don't agree with me. Yeah, and so those are mainly the two things that I think are causing us to not be able to discuss things. Like we're allowed to have different opinions, but at the end of the day, America is supposed to work with a left and a right together, not just one.
I would add a third to that, which is a little bit what Chris said, that there's no disconnecting from politics. There's no avenue now where you can just be free from politics. It's in every show. It's in every movie. It's in sports. It's in what bathroom you go to is political. There's nothing now that is not a divisive political issue.
Yeah, and that's problematic in the sense that exactly like Chris is saying, we can't get away from it. And the people, and it would be good that we have people who are more engaged in politics, but because of the fact that it's just being forced in their face, and not that they're, I'm more interested in this, it's causing people to just vote in ways that don't make sense.
And I'll be honest, I'm not immune from any sort of tribalism. I used to a couple years ago feel like, I just want everyone to get along, whatever. That changed for me a little bit when they segregated people and put people under house arrest.
Yeah, right. Hey, shout out to Zippy the Strange with the gifted membership. Thank you so much. And of course, that makes you the new sponsor of the stream. Thank you so much, brother. These two ideas, I think, as we're saying, everything being forced upon everybody, it doesn't allow, or maybe it's more of the fact that it doesn't allow the voices of those who know what they're talking about to rise above the bullshit, because there's so much bullshit. It's not that people shouldn't be allowed to voice their opinion, but if you don't really care, then shut up.
Yeah.
Instead of just parroting something that you heard from somebody else.
No, but everyone has their slogans. Everyone has their talking points to signal that they're part of the in-group.
Yep, that's it. Again, Zippy. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for giving him some cheese tonight. Thank you, sir. Didn't even get a chance to change the banner. Already out sponsoring himself. So in terms of in terms of those three, what do you think is preventing people from either recognizing that those are the issues, or being able to enact that?
I mean, I think in terms of on the left, they have their entire power structure where it's a cult. Anybody steps out of line, they're going to feel the full wrath of the cult. It's the same thing as when somebody tries to leave a cult, and what happens? They come after them. So I kind of understand that, but I think the right is always reacting to the left also.
Yep.
So, which is why they lose always. They are just kind of, I think it's more understandable that they've sort of been stomped on for so long by nut job leftists that I kind of understand where people on the right get bitter.
Yeah. And I mean, I agree that we're in a position where we're constantly reacting, but that comes from us meaning the cultural right more broadly, us not having our own culture there to put anything forth. So the only culture that's on the right seems to be not left.
Yeah,
that's about it.
Well,
oh my goodness! Shout out to Soil to Soul. Said Morty, eating good tonight. Oh boy! Thank you so much. Sorry, you're saying.
I don't know, but I'm just. Who cares? There's a dog.
No, but on the idea that these three things are forcing everybody to be involved in politics when some of them don't want to, some of them shouldn't be. And it's fucking everything up.
I hate so much that whenever you meet somebody, whether it's a date or a new friend or whoever, that politics is the first thing you need to think of. I did a show for Valentine's Day the other night where we were giving advice and people wrote in, and a lot of them were people asking, "Oh no, I found out this guy that I'm seeing his politics, he's a leftist, and should I tell him? Should I not?" And it sucks that that's something we even need to consider, because I think the deeper that this has gotten, the more burnt out I've gotten about. I don't know if all you guys agree. I am so over politics. I am so burnt. It is my goal and dream in life to never have to talk about politics again.
Yeah, that same exact thing. I feel like a little bit of a calling that the when you take these two and I guess three ideas of what's creating that chasm, or at least preventing the chasm from being fixed, preventing the bridges from being built, then you get into the fact that we're living in different realities. And you can I just did a stream with a friend who is a liberal, and we're watching a Biden speech together to just be like, okay, well, like, what do you see and what do I see? And it's like, bro, he just said the MAGA Republicans are eroding democracy. And I'm like, okay, well, so explain to me how that's not divisive. It's like, well, like, I don't get it. I don't get it. What are you seeing?
I can't with these people. I don't know. Like, I would love to be more like, kumbaya, we are the world and all that shit, but these are ridiculous people.
Yep. And we used to be there. We used to be, on that again. I think, the 90s was the peak of American culture.
The 90s were the greatest.
And just ever since then, they introduced, identity politics, and everything's gone downhill. Bill Bradley said, wanting less government would be an act of inaction. Wanting more government requires an action to which the people want. What? All right. Wanting less government would be an act of inaction. Wanting more government requires an action to which the people that want less government react. So it makes sense the GOP would react to Dem attempts to expand government while not taking actions that would expand the government. I mean, I see what you're saying, but I disagree, because there are actions that you can take that actually solve the problems that create. You know how Hinge, the dating app, they advertise as the app that's
the only one I'm not on.
Is the app that's meant to be deleted. And like, if that were true, of course it's not. They want you to pay for this and that. But if it were true, then that would be a really good utility. And so if we have, the Department of Education that wants to actually fix education and continues tweaking better and better and better education, that's not a problem. The fact is that we're not doing that. So we definitely have those things that can be done, but all that's being done is just, nope, Democrats bad. And it's like, well, okay, what do you want then? I think we all want to do things like solve homelessness and I was going to say the wage gap, not the wage gap. The income gap is definitely a huge problem. People are fucking broke. Like, there's things to be done.
Oh yeah, let's talk about how their precious lockups was the largest transfer of wealth in history from the lower classes to the top. But we can't talk about that, and that's the thing. We have two parties now that support all of that.
Yep.
I disagree a little bit because I understand your point, but I kind of, whenever I hear Republican politicians talking about how the government shouldn't get involved, I cringe a little bit because this isn't 1980. The government is involved. Look around you.
They're already here. Exactly.
So I want to vote someone who will be very proactive and take action and use every tool in our disposal to try and involve the government on behalf of the people for once and get rid of a lot of these things. It takes action to get rid of a lot of these things that have been in place for so long.
Yeah. And that's exactly where I'm coming from, is that we're already in a position where, action needs to happen. We need to use, we can't use non-government to fight the government that we have now. That's just not an option. Granny Panties says we are in a Cloward Piven loop, and conservatives are too gutless to stop it. I'm not familiar. What is a?
I'm going to pretend I'm smart and say I totally know what that is.
All right. Well, let's do a Google. Cloward. Actually, let's make sure this is something that could be on.
This grinder history is going to open.
Okay, looks like we're good. What do we got here? The Cloward Piven strategy is a political strategy outlined in 1966 by American sociologist and political activists Richard Cloward and Francis Fox Piven. Well, very aptly named. Strategy forcing political change, leading the societal collapse through orchestrated crises. The Cloward Piven strategy seeks to hasten the fall of capitalism by overloading the government bureaucracy with a flood of impossible demands, amassing massive unpayable national debt, and other methods such as unfettered immigration, thus pushing society into crisis and an economic collapse, overwhelming the United States. I'm going to agree there.
That's about apt.
I am going to agree. Any film says racism being a thing skyrocketed under Obama. He was very divisive. Prior to that, Democrats routinely accused George Bush of being a Nazi, an idiot, a criminal, evil genius, and evil genius, or just criminally evil.
Oh yeah, I had I think it was in 2020. I'd written a thing about because all these people saying Trump is Hitler. I went back from every Republican to ever run for president. How to see how many times they had been called Hitler. I had to stop at like 70 years. It's just every Republican, and then once they're not a threat to the Democrats anymore, suddenly they love them.
They love them.
Like now they love Bush. They love McCain.
Of course.
Okay, wait. I saw somebody mention this before, and I'm not aware that there was there's a trucker protest, like a trucker protest.
Yeah, like Canada style. I haven't seen that either.
I didn't hear about that.
So let's do a Google.
I left New York and have tuned it out ever since.
What do we got? That looks good enough. We're not skipping anything. I promise. We are following the rules of everything that we're supposed to be doing.
Here comes the stupid. Listen, it's an election year. All right. We already had one stupid in January. Now we're having another stupid in February.
Oh, okay. This guy's against the truckers, unless he's being sarcastic.
Are these the same truckers?
All I've seen in the last 2 days is truckers are going to boycott freaking New York City. That's what they're going to do because of Trump. And go look at these channels.
I heard that they're not going into New York City. That they won't do that. Interesting.
That are getting these major mega views, like 1 million views. It's like they think they have the inside to trucking. No, and this is what my thing is. A lot of these guys are.
Don't take it personal, Front Porch. It's just you gotta check that shit out.
Take it very personally.
Well edited. I'm not saying. Hey, listen. I'm not saying that. Normal Joes can't edit.
All right, let's see. All right, well, I guess they are getting into something and not happy about it. Not happy about it.
That's awesome. I mean, I wish it were a couple of years ago, but better late than never.
Yeah. So Bill's saying there's supposedly a trucker protest starting on Monday. No taking or receiving loads until.
We're both 12.
Interesting. Yeah. Right. Shout out to Leah. I just watched a video going into detail on the Mouse Utopia experiment. It's fucking chilling to see where the wokies are taking us if it's allowed to play out. Beware of the beautiful ones. Yeah, are you familiar with the Mouse Utopia?
No,
experiment?
tell me.
You know what? It's better if we. I would butcher it. I would butcher it.
It's another thing. I'm just gonna pretend I'm smart and know what that is.
In 1968, an expert on animal behavior and population control called John B. Calhoun built what was essentially a utopia for mice that was purpose-built to satisfy their every need. Despite going out of his way to ensure the inhabitants of his perfect mouse society never wanted for anything, within 2 years, virtually the entire population was dead. So, what happened? At Universe 25, Calhoun's Mouse Utopia was built with the needs of its mouse inhabitants firmly in mind and was designed to specifically cater to their every whim. Containing plentiful food, water, bedding, and at least in space, the enclosure was described as follows.
Kinda like the lefties of today, and specifically people living in cities like where you just left.
I mean, I think people living in this country, period, we have it too good. People talk about privilege. The ultimate privilege is American privilege. We've had it too good for too long.
Yep.
And look at the results.
Yep. And
a tank, 101 inches square, enclosed by walls 54 inches high. The first 37 inches of wall was structured so that the mice could climb up, but they were prevented from escaping by 17 inches of bare wall above. Each wall had 16 vertical mesh tunnels, called them stairwells, soldered to it. 4 horizontal corridors opened off each stairwell, leading to 4 nesting boxes. This means 256 boxes in total, each capable of holding 15 mice. Okay. Well versed in rodent populations from dozens of previous experiments, something that's kind of apparent when you realize that the enclosure was called Universe 25, Calhoun anticipated that his mouse paradise could reliably and, more importantly, comfortably house 3,840 mice. For that, though, he needed to pick the proverbial Adam and Eve of his mouse Garden of Eden. Calhoun eventually settled on 4 breeding pairs of mice specifically bred for the experiment and handpicked from the most healthy specimens from the National Society. Calhoun's experiments eventually caught the eye of the National Institute of Mental Health, or NIMH, who were intrigued about the observed effects of overpopulation in rodents, specifically if any of the observed phenomenon could be applied to humans. To this end, the NIMH gave Calhoun access to a small piece of land that they owned in Maryland and the funding that was needed to construct Universe 25. The stated goal of the experiment was simply to see whether a perfect society would flourish. Initially, the experiment proved successful, and the mice lived in relative harmony, and within a year, the population of 8 super healthy mice had swelled to a respectable 620 members. Great care was taken to ensure the mice were taken care of. Food and water, it was unlimited, which allowed the mice to eat or drink whenever they pleased, and there was always space and clean bedding available, so females could rear young in peace and safety.
Sounds like a typical legal immigrant.
Despite this, Calhoun noticed that after day 35 of the experiment, things started to go wrong.
35
First of all,
days.
there was a noticeable drop in population growth. While initially the population of the mouse heaven had doubled every 55 days, after day 315 it doubled, according to Calhoun's notes, approximately every 145 days. This made little sense, as there was still ample space to house another 3,000 mice. In addition to a drop in population growth, Calhoun also noticed an abrupt change in behavior in both males and females. Social bonds broke down, and male mice, without a reason to defend their territory or food source, since both were plentiful, became dejected, forming cliques that randomly attacked one another for seemingly no reason. Females similarly began abandoning young or even attacked them, and slowly but surely both males and females simply stopped breeding. In the lead up to this, certain of the male mice.
So, I mean, I guess you can see that when you get too much, as everybody's been saying, let's say we absolutely have had it too good for too long. Humans did not evolve for complacency. We have to make stuff up to be a victim of, that's a failing path to be going down.
Bingo.
Yeah, that's that. I mean, nail on the head. So nail on the head.
And complacency is the point. I would say people talk about cancel culture. No, it's coward culture. It's compliance culture. That's the root of everything that we're dealing with. Just if every person who wasn't a crazy leftist or who disagreed with the lockups, for example, or the mandates, would have said no and refused, it would have been done within a weekend.
Yep.
But everyone, and this is where, for most of our problems, I blame the right more than the left, because the left are evil bastards, but they only get away with it because people on our side just sit on their ass and do nothing.
Yeah,
I make excuses.
I completely agree.
I could sit here and name you every excuse that they would say of why they have. Well, we have jobs and the left does. Like, I could just go down the list of every excuse and look at your country.
Yeah, and that's something Tim talks about all the time. It's like, yeah, I get it. I get that you're in a situation, but I've likened it to the idea of that you're standing out on a ledge. You're out on a tall skyscraper, and you're out standing on your ledge, and you're like, I'm good, I'm not falling. It's like, all right, maybe you're not falling right now, but you're standing on the ledge of a skyscraper. You could just come on inside. And it's so frustrating, again, that especially that the atheism is something I put out very strongly, because not only do I not believe, but I don't while I don't want to take religion away from anybody, I want to create a society where just like alchemy, it's just kind of faded into the background because we don't need it anymore. I think every value that comes from religion that is just good for a society can absolutely be done without having to believe any particular thing. And also, if you do believe this, that, or the other. And so my whole thing is like, okay, we both agree that we should care about things like family. We should care about things like community. We should care about things like gratitude and grace, merit, capitalism, things like that. But we're on different teams because you got there from God and I got there from moral philosophy. Like, how does that make sense? That's why the left is winning.
Yes. Yeah, that's basically my view. I'm not really an atheist, but that it shouldn't matter. I want atheists. I want Christians. Like, these people, it is already such an uphill battle to go against people who control every industry, the federal government, control every entity in this country. It's already such an uphill battle. We don't need to be splitting ourselves into all these different categories.
Absolutely. And so shout out to Chester. Welcome to the party from Australia. And he said, we tried to say no to lockdowns. Well, guess what we got in America that y'all ain't got in Australia? We got guns, and you can use them. And you don't have to be directly violent and shoot at a cop in order to try to stop the lockdown. The threat of violence is just as or can be just as powerful if you use it properly than the violence itself. Bill Bradley said, I think the left is winning because they took over academia and the intellectual sphere, which then bleeds into every level of education, politics, business, entertainment. Yep, all of that stuff.
And the thing is, what people don't realize is they've been working for years now on having this sort of informal merger between big government and big corporation that, they decided small businesses have to close, big corporations can stay open. They are advising social media companies on who to censor and how to censor. So
advising
with these.
Yeah, that's wild. Chris said, we need a variety of opinions and beliefs instead of being stuck within a collective or a hive mind or an echo chamber. Exactly, Chris.
He is a wise grasshopper.
Yeah, man. And that's the whole thing, because it's not just about, do you have the right ideas? It's about, can you share them in such a way that it will do something? And that's been a big problem with discourse on the right. What do you think about kind of this split among the right? Because everybody are between Republican and conservative and MAGA and American First and all these things. Do you see a distinction between, like, when people say conservative or people say Republican? Do those mean different things to you?
I suppose I think it means very different things for people who feel very strongly that they're conservatives. You know, for me, I'm like, what, it doesn't matter as much. But I think it's mostly conservatives who are most disgusted by the Republican Party.
That's exactly what I was saying the other day with the liberal guy here, is that, you know, they are the projection. The projection is so hard. They're the ones that all walk in lockstep. And then just because a bunch of us agree on a thing, they're like, oh my God, you're brainwashed. It's like, bro, how do you not see that you're doing exactly the thing that you're saying that we're doing? It's absolutely insane.
I'm just glad maybe I'll have to interact with fewer of them here in Florida.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. The problem, my problem is that I'm trying to bring more of those people in and be like, yo, I promise, I got the answers. I got the answers. So I do have to contend with that. But you know, it's I hear you. I want to. I was thinking about moving. You know, I mean, I just bought this place a couple of years ago. So I'm not moving like anytime super soon. But I was definitely looking to end up later in life somewhere in like the Southwest. Maybe like a Phoenix or a Las Vegas or somewhere around there. I just need three things. I need warm weather, I need recreational weed, and I need constitutional carry. We got those things. I can move anywhere.
I think we have that here. I believe
so. I mean, it might not be. I actually don't know the gun, but it's definitely not hard to get guns in Florida.
I don't think they have the weed. I think they send you to Guantanamo for the weed here.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's a non-negotiable. That is a non-negotiable. Shout out to Leslie McDowell. Welcome to the party. So do we ever talk about why the deep state hates Trump? Very important to understand this. All right, so let me throw this to you. What do you think Leslie's getting at here?
I mean, I suppose because he's outside of the system, he's not part of their club to begin with. In 2016 Trump, I don't know how you feel about Trump. I'm trying to feel a little bit less resentful of him because I'm voting for him. It is what it is. He's the person running. It can't be Biden, but I ain't over the lockups.
I said shit. Me too. I will never, ever, 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 ever forgive those lockdowns. And I will never, ever, 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 ever forgive not firing Fauci. I refuse to even call him doctor.
Yeah.
Fuck that dude.
Well, and the thing is, because, you know, Trump was elected to stop the communist takeover of America. And it happened on his watch. And now there will be no accountability. There will be nothing. And I completely understand people passionately supporting him. But what I don't understand is this sort of no questions asked mentality of like, hold him accountable because this will happen again.
Right.
And I think if Trump were president today and it were to happen again, he would go along with it again because there would be no pushback from his own supporters.
Yeah, I agree. I think, you know, because again, I didn't vote. I was a never Trumper back in, you know, in 2015. Like I said, 2015 liberal. So but I didn't really pay attention to politics that much. I have the story from when I was in college, my senior year, and you know, just random night hanging out in my friend's dorm, walking. I guess it would have been. No, my freshman year. So I'm hanging out in my friend's dorm, going back to my dorm, and there's a bunch of people outside. So I went to Rider University, and Rider is a very small private school, but it is D1, but they don't have a football team. So it's a weird amalgam. They're very big on basketball, and they're very big on their business school. So you can kind of tell. And, you know, obviously they have other stuff. Like I went for psychology, but you can kind of tell you're probably in the business school or you're probably on the basketball team. And so I was walking back, and there was a bunch of black people out, you know, in the lawn, like, you know, celebrating. I'm like, all right, whatever's going down, like, good on you. Turns out that was the night Obama was elected, and I had no idea. So that's how much I was paying attention to politics at that point. You know, and then, you know, I thought I was going to get I'm going to be so good in politics. I'm going to watch MSNBC, CNN, and Fox News. And that's how I got brainwashed into thinking if Trump wins, it's the end of the world. And
I thought you were going to say that's how I got a brain tumor.
That too. I mean, if I could blame the Hillary vote on a brain tuner, I definitely would. But yeah, it took a little while of seeing that, like, oh, they're lying, like, about all of it. And I just, once you see it, you can't unsee it. You can't unsee it.
I've kind of run the gamut of thoughts on Trump. And I hated him in 2016. In 2020, I was like one of his most passionate voters. And now I'm like, I'll vote for him.
Yeah.
Unenthusiastically.
I would have much preferred Vivek. But
I wanted DeSantis to do well, and he bombed so badly. I don't understand how he could have run such a horrible campaign. It's so awful. Frustrating. I wanted him to do well so badly.
I'm right there with you. That was, going into the season. That's where I thought, my alliances would lie. I'd be like, yeah, DeSantis, he was amazing on COVID. He has a lot of support. He's kind of like Trump, but he doesn't have all the baggage. And that's kind of how he was portrayed. But he wasn't really speaking a lot, especially long form. And then in the debates, he fell flat. The announcement on Twitter Spaces fell flat. I covered when he went on PBD, and PBD gave him the boots, and he's like, "Oh, I can't accept gifts," and just every single step of the way. And then Vivek was on coming up through the ranks. I'm like, oh, I like this guy so much so that I was like, wait, where he can't be perfect. Like, what's wrong with him? There's got to be something wrong with him. And I'm sure there is, but to this day, nothing has come out. How did you feel about Vivek?
He won me over. At first, I really thought he's full of shit, but he kind of won me over.
Yeah. And, it's really unfortunate. And I didn't think he would actually, necessarily be able to have a winning campaign, but I definitely wanted him to be in the race a little bit longer, just in case some fuckery goes down and Trump can't run. Then it's like, okay, well, where are we now? Biden versus Haley? Like, right?
God.
I mean, come on. No. So this is a question I've been asking a bunch of people. If and now as time goes on, because before we didn't know as much, but just pretend that we don't know that Trump said he wouldn't do this. But what would you do if he picked Haley for VP?
I mean, I'm already so unenthusiastic. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. Here's the thing. Just between us and everyone watching, a year ago, people who were close to him were telling me that he was going to pick her. And now, so the fact that now there's starting to be rumors of that, I'm inclined to believe it. I would expect him to pick her because I think these people who have Trump derangement syndrome give him way the hell too much credit, that they think he's this dictator. No, I think he'll win, and I think it'll be, or I mean, I don't think he'll win, but if he won, I think it would be very similar to the first time. I think he's all talk. Yeah. So I'd still vote for him because we get two choices and he has a pulse-ish, kind of, sort of.
Generally speak English.
Yeah, sometimes.
I feel essentially the same way that, like, we, especially looking back, we definitely needed a Trump. Did it have to be specifically Trump? Probably not, but how many other people are, like Trump? I definitely think we needed that bull in a china shop thing. But now, and especially if we hadn't had COVID, then, going back to PBD, he brought up this notion of that there's two different types of presidents: the trailblazer and the flag carrier. And so you would say that Trump is more of a trailblazer, kind of shaking things up. And shout out to Virgil, Stormy Daniels for VP. Where Trump is more of that trailblazer, where he's changing things up, and the flag carrier comes in and just maintains everything that's good and doesn't drop the ball. And I think that Vivek could have really been a good flag carrier, because I think both are important.
I think DeSantis, as horrible as he was at running for president, I think he would have been a trailblazer doing the job like he has been as governor. I think Trump talks like a trailblazer, but I think if you look at what he actually did, he was a total flag carrier.
How so?
the omnibus spending bill, the not getting the like, what did he really do? Most of the stuff he did was just immediately undone by executive order. Going along with the entire COVID agenda, there's just really nothing that stands out terribly. She's tired from the 12 fellas. Here over.
Yikes. And I generally agree with you. And I was just having this this debate, whatever you want to call it, the other day about like, oh, what did Trump do that's so great? It's like, not much. But that's not the question that I'm asking. The question, or that I'm answering when I'm answering who am I going to vote for, is that we've seen all the bullshit with the liberal establishment and the direction that's moving in the World Economic Forum. All like, it's the big thing that everybody has been worried about for the last 20 years, and we're actually starting to see things manifest in that way. And it's like, oh shit, this is real now. I honestly don't know if Trump doesn't win, or if Trump's not on the ballot. I don't know if America works anymore. I'm not saying it's going to fall in one day, but I think that's the beginning of the end.
Yeah, no, I kind of agree. I kind of have felt like this election, like if we have another chance to turn things around through voting, I don't think we'll get another one. Mm-hmm. Which is why I'm kind of checked out mentally from this election, because I don't think he's going to win. And I'm like, no. Well, the thing is, the question that I've been asking for about 2 years now that I would like, I would need to hear an answer to this to get on board the Trump train again, is if the election in 2020 was fortified and you have shown that you are incapable of putting together any sort of strategy or team or plan to combat that, what's your plan this time? What is going to be different this time? And I've heard nothing about it, because there isn't a plan.
Yeah, and I don't
not to bum everyone out. I'm so, no, I was very outspoken about this beforehand, but now I'm like, well, he's the nominee, and I'd rather him than Biden. So,
well, yeah, but I think
is what it is at this point.
Yeah, I think it is definitely important to put it out there so that not only are we, thinking about these things and either coming up with reasons why, like, okay, I can accept that because XYZ, or maybe that changes your position. I can't vote for either of these guys. I'm going to write somebody. We need to think about those things. And so, like, a pretty typical conservative response to what did Trump do and all that is just the fact that the liberals are going too far, and it's not even in the sense of a lesser of two evils. Because I think Hillary and Trump, whoever you voted for, you were casting a lesser of two evils vote, not knowing that Trump was going to be, as I don't want, not charismatic, but as much of a leader. You know what I mean? It's in the sense that he was bringing people together. And now I think it's a little bit different, because the response is typically, well, there was Russiagate for the first 2 years, and then there was COVID. So how would you? How is that not? That's not an excuse, a good enough excuse for you?
No.
Why not?
He allowed the COVID hysteria to spread, and the thing is, if it bugs me that some of his supporters will say, "Oh, he was tricked, he was duped." I'm like, well, don't get duped then. Like, are you going to get duped again? Like.
Well, and
at least own up to that.
Yes.
And give us some assurance that you will never allow this to happen again. The biggest scam in American history.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think that would be ideal, but I think it's kind of it's kind of implied that he's not the kind of guy who's going to say that. But he could be he's much more likely to be the kind of guy who goes in there, saw what was good, maybe fumbled the bag, dropped the ball, whatever you want to say. And I was like, oh, okay, I see what I did wrong. And now it goes back and does it right the second time. Now, is that wishful thinking? Partly, yes.
It's all we've got at this, but right. Honestly, like I said, what's the alternative?
Yeah. So if Trump gets in there, I will definitely hope he surrounds himself with better people, more trustworthy people, and is able to get more done. He definitely has some stuff to own up to. Exactly. And I'm not expecting him to address those things. I think he is somebody who is just going to do it better if that's what he's going to do. And I will happily Be like, hey guys, I fucked up. This is not any better than Joe Biden, just kind of existing. I don't think that's going to be the case, but if it is, I'll happily be there.
Vivek ended up being, he really won me over. He
right?
ran the campaign that DeSantis should have run.
Yes, I think you're right. And if he did, yeah, there would be no question. I would absolutely be voting for him.
It still bums me out. I cannot fathom how DeSantis ran such a bad campaign. I did these like watch party streams for the debates, and every single one was like watching through my fingers. I'm like, come on, God. Wake up.
Yeah, and there was the two main things that he had. His voice was very monotone and flat, and that he didn't know how to punctuate his points. So he would say something like, I was the only governor who was good on COVID, and also there's these other things going on. It's like, whoa. Like, bro, I was the only governor who was good on COVID. Stop. Let that sink in. And things like that seem like they shouldn't matter. But they absolutely matter. Zuby said Vivek was amazing. Too good for America. Maybe so. And Granny and Leah said, no way. I am voting for the pedocrats. And that's kind of what it comes down to, is that, like, okay, politicians, like I always say that we look at politics. When I look at a Trump or a Vivek or a Biden or anybody else, I'm not looking at them and judging them in the same way that it's like, okay, do I want to be friends with you? Do I want to hang out with you? That's not what I'm not looking for a friend. I'm not looking for somebody who's gonna, dog sit Morty. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for, can you get this job done? And if you can get the job done, and it just happens to come with mean tweets and whatever, I'm fine with that. The level of cultural difference that you get when Democrats are in power versus just them not being in power, whether it's the rhinos or somebody like a Trump or somebody like a Vivek or anybody, the speed with which all this stuff ramps up, it's I don't know. It's just too much. It's just too much.
And anyone who doubts that, go spend some time in a blue city.
Yeah. Granny Penny says with Vivek, I'm like, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. But there's nothing bad to say about him thus far. Yeah.
Well, I felt like with him, even if it were a 50-50 shot of him doing what he says he would, I'll take those odds at this point, Yeah. Like, what have we got to lose?
Yeah. And I mean, it's just like, it's not about it's gone beyond the policies. Like, yeah, they're maybe Trump didn't have amazing policies that kickstarted this, that, whatever. Maybe not. But the fact of the matter is, the policies that the other side wants to implement are so detrimental that we're not at a place where I can let the good or the perfect be the enemy of good.
Yes.
And I think Trump will be a good force for this country. At least in comparison to what happens with more Biden.
I hope I'm wrong. I hope he crushes that demented old corpse. But yeah, no, I never thought in a million years that I would want to leave New York. I used to love it so much. And it's shocking just how in a couple years, how downhill every Democrat-run city has gotten. Like, the mask is fully off at this point. I mean, do you know in New York, the city is literally putting out vending machines with crack pipes on public property? What? And if naturally it was sold out, it was sold out overnight.
Of course,
they're giving out credit cards to illegals. You have the mayor talking about censoring speech on social media. Like, it is just a fallen state. And the thing is, the thing that's so terrible about New York right now is not even the things that people would think of, the crime, the homelessness. It's just everyone is miserable. Everyone looks down. Half the people are still in masks. Everyone is depressed. It just feels like, it feels like a weight on, it just feels like a weight on your shoulders being there.
Like the vibe, it's just like not there.
It's so true.
I mean, I live in Central Jersey, so I'm a short drive away from New York City or Philly, and both my siblings live in Philly. And when like especially my older brother, he's been there for a decade, maybe more. I have no idea. But the Freudian slip there, right, Grady Manny's? The difference in just the air, you can taste it. You can taste it in the air that there's something awry. There's something awry, and they love it, and they're of course super liberal. But it makes sense that I'm not looking for that at all. Like I am definitely spoiled being a suburban kid. I need something. I need a Walmart 10 minutes away. I need corner stores. I need
I went to a Walmart the other day. How exotic is that?
Your first time?
I'd been in one once before in like Louisiana or something, but not anywhere near where I lived.
So what's something a suburban kid would be surprised that somebody would notice about a Walmart? Because I've grown up with Walmarts and Targets and Kmart's and Sears.
They're huge. It's like Madison Square Garden in there, and they have everything. It's not like a grocery store, an electronics store, or a house. It's an everything store.
Everything.
I was looking up like.
Just said nothing new. I often wear a mask, but I'm an armed robber. There you go. That fits. That fits. Oh, I wanted to ask you about driving. You were talking about in your most recent episode of MIKEroaggressed Mike's podcast. Definitely go check that out. Actually, I got the link to his channel.
I will be on tomorrow with the Front Porch Conservative, and you have to come on it.
Nice.
Because you are kick-ass.
I would love to. Yeah, we got it. It's at Mike Harlow. It's also in the description below. Yeah, so you were talking about driving. I again, being a suburban kid, I got my, it was like a couple months late, but since I could, I was able to drive, and I've always been about my car. I need a parking lot. I need, what is it? First of all, what is it like? You said you've driven a couple times?
No, I've never driven.
Never driven. So what do you think it's like versus?
Like to me, the idea of driving, or I was talking with my friend yesterday about like getting a car and stuff, like it feels like, saying I'm going to get a spaceship. It's just unfathomable. I can't imagine.
I'm
going to make him start teaching me soon.
It's going to be so much fun. I remember being like the age that when you first are, you first have that freedom, and it's just like, wait, I can just go.
Yes.
And it's like the Grand Princess, I want that jar you're drinking from. Yeah,
come visit.
There you go. Invitation. Shout out. You got your eyes on any particular car, or you're just trying to get
whatever's cheap? I should have been saving a lot more money when I was in New York.
Yeah. I mean, if you're not
money suck.
Yeah. If you're not into cars like that, then just get whatever.
As long as it runs, I'm good.
Yeah. Cause like I'm kind of into cars in the sense that like I like a nice car, but I'm not like a gearhead type person. And like I drive a 2015 Chrysler sedan, and I mean I drive for work. I'm a professional dog trainer, so I'm driving all over Jersey, and it works. It works. Don't let anybody tell you like, oh my God, you gotta whatever.
I know, he's awesome, right?
I said, I've never seen the Indian Jesus before, but I'm loving his vibe. Thank you so much. Seems like such a positive person to be around, and the two of them go together. It's totally working for me right now. Let's go.
Jesus and a vampire. It's perfect.
I love it. Chris said, Mikey needs a soccer van. Why do you need a soccer
mom? I need a husband first.
There you go. He's single, gentlemen. Do we have any gays here? I don't know if any. I don't think we have any gays here right now. But any gays? If you haven't told me,
we're all getting along. That's why we're all getting along. You bring gays.
If you haven't told me, you can hit him up. Zippy the Strange said, "How can you save money in New York or California? They're designed to rob you blind, if not legally." Illegally. Yeah, I mean that's I think that is why we're seeing such an exodus from these big cities. And even if it's not, going from going across the country, I bet there's a lot of people moving out of the city that they're in to the major suburban area that's right around them. And I think that's a good thing. I think it's good that the people who care enough to pick up and go through that are going to find more of each other. And even if there are less people who have this type of mentality, then there's power in numbers. And it's just about, learning to come together and be able to articulate what it is that you want to do. Semantic obfuscation and get rid of dogma. There we go.
Yes. I'm so excited though to do Florida stuff and drive, and it's crazy. I can't believe that's a thing. I still can't believe. It was just a very crazy turn of event. Like, I think, so I had to be out of my apartment at a certain time. So I knew in a sense that I would be leaving there, but it just didn't quite seem real. Like, I couldn't fathom that I was coming here. But yeah, in the span of like 2 weeks, like, I finally caught the COVID. So I was sick of it. I got COVID, got dumped, moved here, got on a plane here a couple days later, was here for 3 days, ran to do Timcast, ran back to New York to clear out my apartment for 3 days, and then came back here. So I'm still kind of spinning.
I bet. And yeah, I saw that that long tweet that you put out, just kind of talking about how you kind of felt settled and that all that should have been going on. And I mean, like, I don't, obviously I don't know you. I follow you on social media, but it really made me happy to be like, word up, somebody's doing the damn thing. Like, instead of just sitting around complaining on the internet, getting up and doing it. And maybe that it's like underrated, but I think it's awesome.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think I really realized, because I just been in such a rut for so long in New York.
Did it feel like COVID or was it the flu?
So it finally got me. I didn't have it the whole time, and then I to the extent that it exists. But there's something that feels a little bit different about when you have COVID, because it finally got me maybe like last winter or something. And yeah, it's it's a cold, but it feels a bit unnatural. If anyone has had it knows what I'm talking, it feels a bit unnatural. Like, the symptoms feel like they don't line up. Like, if you have it, it feels very obvious that it was created in a damn lab somewhere. Because something about it just feels like, like when you have the flu or you have anything, the symptoms
I've
make
never
sense.
gotten the flu. I've never gotten the flu. I haven't gotten even a cold since I was, knock on wood, but since I was in elementary school.
Oh, you're one of those people.
Yeah. And I wanna chalk it up to the fact that, especially through college, I was just sharing blunts with people. And so, I was getting little bits of inoculation here and there. I don't know how that's some bro science, if there ever was. But yeah, I'd never gotten the flu. And there was, in November of 2019, there was a week where I was feeling kind of like down, but it definitely didn't feel like, because they say you could be asymptomatic and whatever. And I think maybe that was what it is, but that's the most I've had. Shout out again to the Front Porch Conservative. Said, Mike, you will love driving down I-95 in Florida. And I mean that sincerely. You can go all the way to Miami on I-95. It's flat and it's fast. I moved past a cop one time doing 80 and didn't flinch. Yeah, man.
I blew past a cop one time too. No, I'm kidding.
I thought you were definitely going to say something else. I definitely thought you were going to say something else.
You're going to come visit me. And the lovely Front Porch Conservative will be on my show tomorrow. So everybody should come hang out.
Yeah, we will. What time is that?
8 Eastern.
8 Eastern, word up. So we'll be hey, everybody should join the the Indian Jesus Discord server. We will be streaming MIKEroaggressed in the thing. So it is free to join.
You guys are the best.
Completely free to join, but if you become a member, you get access to the after party, the voice channels, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So I would be remiss if I did not ask you about, real quick, Contact said I has a COVID, said I only had the fluvid for 2 days, but it did feel completely different than any other sickness I had. I don't get sick often, but nothing else has ever made me sweat for 48 hours straight. Okay. So I guess I definitely didn't have it. Like, because it was bad. It was bad. Or that sounds bad. I mean, Leah said it's said in Lord of the Rings. Never seen Lord of the Rings. We're doing a movie contest soon. A movie night contest in
Sorry,
Discord.
Leah, it's overrated.
It's only a passing thing, this shadow. Even darkness must pass. A new day will come, and when the sun shines, it will shine out the clearer. This is Mikey's new day. There you go. And shout out to again our boy Zippy the Strange feeding our puppy. Let's go with some pepperoni. This is my food actually, but we share. We love. Yeah. So I would be remiss if I did not ask you about the Cast Castle. What was it like going on Timcast?
It was awesome. Okay, so first of all, I was sweating the entire time that I was gonna curse.
I would be
like
so nervous.
I could feel my ass cheeks clenching. I was like, don't curse. I've never been so nervous especially my friends who I'm staying with here. I had said to them, I was like, watch, I guarantee you the night before I go there, the Putin interview is gonna go. Okay, let me tell you, I liked it when I watched it. I watched it with my loser ex, so I'm biased.
See,
I liked it. I did like it, and I liked Harry Potter, but I stay away from them now.
All right, there we go. So when we do
the horror genre will never break your heart.
There you go. But yeah,
what the hell was I rambling about?
I forget what we were talking about.
Timcast. Oh yeah,
there you go.
I my friends, I was like, I guarantee you that Putin interview is going to come out the night before, and of course it did. But I guess I got luck because like that's just a subject that I don't know anything about. I don't care about it. I'm at the point where the moment I hear the name of a foreign country, whether it's Russia, Ukraine, Israel, Palestine, I tune out. I'm like, okay, I'm just trying to live my life. Like, God bless, but I don't care.
Fair enough. I think that's definitely something that like people will. Some criticism that people will have of my channel is that I'm always focused on the culture war and culture stuff and like, oh, why don't you focus on this, that, and the other? And that's we got you, Leah. We got you. The fact that this is where most people enter politics. This is if I'm trying to bring people together, then I'm not necessarily aiming this at somebody who's, deeply entrenched on the right or deeply entrenched on the left. Maybe I want those people who don't really know much about politics. So I can come in and introduce you and not tell you what to think, but like, hey, this is how we should be approaching this shit. And if we can do that, I think things will be a lot better.
For sure.
But yeah, I had, if you see here, I had Ian on the channel once.
I love him. He gets so much shit. I told him, I was like, Ian, you are like an extraterrestrial and I love you.
He's the heart of the show.
He is such a unique person.
I'd had him on, and then I'm a member, so I'm in the Timcast server, and we did the with the after party. I called in once, but that's as far as I've gotten. And Tim kind of shot down my idea about the what I call the American identity. This idea of we all agree on the values. Why does it matter if God or whatever? And he was like, well, you need a what do you say? You need a mission. I'm like, well, that is a mission. Like, what are you talking about? I don't know. But so that's what you're saying. You're saying you don't know much about Putin, and it was the night before.
No, and so I sat in my hotel room. Brian, Front Porch Conservative, shout out, was like coaching me. I sat in my hotel room for 2 days studying Putin and all that. Never came up. And so I was very nervous. I feel like my next time I feel like I could have spoken more and stuff. But they were all amazing. They were all so great.
Well, I think you did well. I think you definitely brought your own voice there, and I think that's kind of the from what I understand from other guests talking about being on the show, that seems to be the hardest thing, because they all have kind of a rhythm, and you're just like there and trying to figure out when do I jump in and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I was debating the whole time if I should get into. Because do you remember that clip that was all over Twitter where Tim was like, I think it was Luke that he was screaming at for bringing up the Trump for basically saying my beliefs about Trump. And so I was debating the whole time sitting there. I'm like, should I get into that? Should I get into that? But it felt like a very friendly kind of show and also, like I said, it's like, well, he's the guy running. It feels a little bit pointless right now. Like, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I don't want Biden, so.
Yeah. And I think that, I mean, I say right now that I would want to have the balls to be like, nah, this, that, if for no other reason, then, get those clips going, get those subs.
Yeah. I just couldn't find a segue and it didn't feel super relevant. I don't know.
Yeah, but I think, and that's obviously why they created the Culture War podcast, because it's like sometimes they bring people in and it's like nothing that's kind of like in your wheelhouse. And I'm kind of the same way. If I didn't even cover the Putin interview because I was like, guys, go watch it. But like I don't have anything to say.
I fell asleep.
Yeah, right. Tim said that's context. That's the one time I ever lost respect for Tim. Don't yell at your friends on camera. It's just rude. I will agree, but I definitely have yelled at some of you on camera before. But I love you. So walk me through like how did they reach out to you or did you reach out to them?
Yeah, I never thought.
That's
I always
awesome.
Viewed it as like such an accomplishment.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
Like basically most of my friends who do this have been on, and I was like, they're never gonna have me on. And they freaking did. Yeah, they just very random that they reached out. Yeah, like I said, it was in the middle of all my moving and stuff, and I was like, I don't care.
Yeah, right.
You make that happen. New York. Yeah, I was like, I don't care if I'm decapitated and my head is rolling off a chopping block. I will be there.
Did you get a bump in like subscribers or anything like that?
Yeah.
You following? Nice. I'm gonna be there one day. We will make it.
You'll be amazing on it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, and did they pay for the flight and they pick you up? Like walk me through. I'm starstruck by
it. No, they cover everything. They're awesome. It's kind of in like it's not the middle of nowhere. It is nowhere. Like there are cows and stuff. But everybody was just super cool. Even the driver was amazing.
Nice. Yeah, Virgil, our resident troll. We love him.
I was so glad that didn't come up because I felt stupid that I felt like they're gonna have me there to talk about Putin and Russian foreign affairs.
Yeah, and that's a tough thing. But it's about getting your foot in the door. You had a good showing. It's not like you said anything that pissed them off or that was too wild. And so, you get your foot in the door, and especially if they've reached out to you, now, it's open and you build from there. And I think that, the people who, especially again, the token people, the atheist, I'm hoping that's kind of my in is that like, oh, so you don't believe in God or Christianity, but you behave essentially like a Christian. That's your thing, huh?
I love that.
And it's like, yeah, I think we can all be that because I think most people who identify as Christians are not really reading the Bible and going to church and praying, and they might have a general belief in something bigger than ourselves. But my issue is that shout out to Soul of the Soul had me said I should make this into a shirt. But God is bad at being a word. The word God is not very good at being a word. The purpose of a word is to take the idea or thoughts that's in my head and send it over to your head. And so when I say God, whatever pops into your head has nothing to do with what's in my head. Yeah, exactly. Shout out to Dietrich. Welcome. And so I'll tell Christians, like, okay, before you go into church next Sunday, because you're definitely going to church because you're a great Christian, you think to yourself, what is God? What do I think God is? Keep that, articulate that in your mind. Then you walk in, sit down in the pew, turn to the person to your left and say, what is God? You're going to get a different answer. And not only that, but you turn over to the right of you and ask the same question, and you're going to get a third answer. And that's not a problem in and of itself. The problem is when everybody coalesces around the idea that, oh, we believe in this thing called God, or we believe in this thing that is Christianity, or when it's not actually a thing. You're all just using the same word for very, 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 very different things. And then I get all this shit because I don't have the same beliefs as you when nobody else has the same beliefs as you either. They're just using the words that you like.
Yeah, I kind of feel like, I believe in God, but I want us to have every type of person imaginable. Atheists, Christians. So these people who always want to be splitting us apart and making the right smaller, I am not about that. I want atheists. I want every type of person. With these people who are like, we can't have atheists, we can't have gays, we can't. No, we need all hands on deck because look at the monster that we are up against.
Absolutely. Grandparents ever read my Bible every single day. We are in a battle of good and evil, y'all. Granny is just keeping it real. And I love that. I love that for you. I love that for you. If you were to come to me and ask, do I think that is that the best way to fight evil? We could have a long discussion about that, and we would agree on a lot of things, but maybe not that. But that's the point, is that there's going to be way more agreement than there is a disagreement.
And I think the important thing is that that's the best way for her. Your way is the best way for you. My way is the best way for me. Who cares? What matters is that we are fighting evil.
Right. And it seems like there's a, part of it is the pushback against, like, it's Jordan Peterson, the postmodernism, this idea that, there is no truth. Postmodernists, they okay. And that idea is almost, the opposite of a religion. And so it seems like, okay, if that's bad, then this must be good. But it's a false dichotomy in the sense, like, even though this godlessness and the debauchery, even though that is bad, that doesn't mean that the answer is only this one thing. Exactly like you said, it works for what works for me, it works for me, it works for you. As long as at the end of the day, we're agreeing on generally how people should behave in society, we're good.
I agree with that. That's why a lot of this debate that, this debate that people have all the time about, like, where do morals come from and all that. Maybe that's why I've never found that to be particularly interesting. I'm kind of focused on the present and what do we do now.
Yeah, so we have an exact definition and meaning. A person in the same church pew next to you is going to have a different idea of God. It means something, but too broad to use in politics where words matter. Exactly. It's not that I don't want you to have that particular moral structure. That can't be what is used to go out of the realm of religion and spirituality into religion. That's the core of the problem. And there's just too many people on the right who, their issue isn't anything except that it has to be God, it has to be Jesus, it has to be Christianity. I heard a lot of people talking about, like, oh, well, I don't trust Vivek because he's a Hindu. It's like, what about that is untrustworthy? So yeah, stupid. Exactly. Dietrich said we all have different. Go ahead.
I wish I loved anything as much as Republicans love losing. If only.
Oh, that would be great. That would be great. So the Soul said we need to agree on an American culture, American values, etc. I don't think we need a religion to do that. We need the American identity. All you need to care about is family, community, gratitude, grace, merit, and capitalism. Boom. If we can all agree on that, then it doesn't matter why you care about those things. We care about those things. It can end right there. We're good. Zippy the Strange said, morals is whatever the collective says it is. The collective sets the definition. I mean, now you're getting into, the philosophy of what is morality, and is morality subjective? But I mean, in terms of, I disagree, because right now the collective says that it's okay to be a drag queen in front of children, and I don't care who you are. That ain't it. That ain't it.
And okay to change the sex of 3-year-olds.
Yeah, hell no. Hell no.
I don't believe, though, that the collective actually thinks that. I think most people who support that just pretend to.
I completely agree. I think that, when I also had Peter Boghossian on the channel, and he was talking about I don't know if you're familiar with him. He's a philosopher guy. He does the street epistemology. If anybody's not familiar, he'll have like a prompt, and there'll be different lines on the ground. So you start out neutral. And you can either go to slightly agree or disagree, strongly disagree. And he was saying that often you'll get people, interesting discussions. They'll go here, they'll do that, they'll whatever, they'll give their opinion. But when it comes to the trans thing, everybody's just, I gotta go to where I'm supposed to go instead of where I really think. And which also ties into the idea of, it's not that people don't know how to answer the question, what is a woman? It's that they know that they're not supposed to.
Yup. They pretend not to.
Yeah, shout out to Peter Boghossian.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Awesome. So what kind of Granny, straight up. The left is just as religious as the right. Queer theory is straight up cult. I completely agree. And that's why I say dogma, it happens on both sides. This is exactly what is the and I'm totally in the camp that we should be accepting of people who are different. If you're gay, if you're trans, if you're whatever, if you have those actual things, not if you're just some AGP guy who wants to get off by looking like a woman, that's abusing the spirit, the sensitivities that we're having to people, and making it harder for those people who deserve those sensitivities and not getting them. And yeah, it's just it's really frustrating. So I'm curious, where would you like to end up in terms of whether it's politics specifically, or like with your podcast specifically, or where are you looking to end up?
Oh,
what
God,
goal or dream?
I just want to be a housewife. I don't know. If I'm being honest. Oh God, not politics. Like I said, I would love to never have to talk about politics again. I am beyond over it. I am resentful of it. I am hateful. I am detestful of it. I don't know if that's a word, but words don't have meanings anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
words have no meanings.
Beyond over it. No, well, I think at some point I've been kind of in the background working on some writing projects, writing a book and stuff. So that's kind of what I want to focus on this next year.
Interesting. I used to have, before I was the Indian Jesus, I did a podcast called "I Didn't Read Your Book," and I thought that would be I was like, okay, all these people that I want to talk to, they all have books. Maybe if I have a podcast about books, then I can get in with that. And then if I make my whole thing that I don't need to read the book, I can do less work. Yeah, shout out to Soul of the Soul here.
I just want to be like one of the Real Housewives of Florida.
I mean, who doesn't? Who doesn't?
Yeah. I be orange.
I'm not gonna lie.
Blonde.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I've definitely thought about, like, I'd be a house husband. I don't think I would actually want to do it.
No,
it would be
actually, nice. But like, I just I plan on being so Botoxed, and like my eyebrows will be on the back of my head. Give me like a year.
There's a client I have like that, and he's got, good looking dude. He's got so much work done. It's like, he's almost in the uncanny valley. It's like, are you human? I mean, like, it looks like a face.
Being human's overrated. Give me like a year or two. I'll be breathing out of my ass.
Shout out to Soil of the Soul. She said, I'm a Real Housewife of Mississippi. There we go. Tread wife summer. That's what's up. That's what's up. Yeah, I think that's...
You guys are my peeps. You guys, you feel me.
We're bringing them into the club, guys. I think that's something that... Because as much as on the right, there's this idea of, the trad wife and the trad life. And that, a traditional man is supposed to do this and a traditional woman is supposed to do that. Like, I'm more like open than that. I think, things can work differently, especially when we understand the reality. Like, if we're not watching Andrew Tate or Fresh and Fit, like, you need to be a man and she needs to do all the, all the housework and stay home and you need all that shit. Like, that's not reality. Most people need to have 2 income households And like, I'm good with that. Most people, you know, have to have more of a like those gender roles can be present, but they're not like so stark. There's a mixture, and there's sometimes and that idea, especially who was saying it before, something about I think it was Bill talking about feminism specifically, but yeah, it's just the idea in women that it's such a bad thing to not be a boss bitch. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. I would love to be gay. I feel like like women are horrible. Women are horrible.
Have you met a gay person? Other than me, I'm awesome, obviously. However, are you insane?
Talk to me. What is this?
Horrible. They're horrible, vapid people. They are soulless. They are all drugged up on so many pharmaceuticals that they don't know they're alive half the time. Just like, you know, zombies crawling through life, you know, with an IV of antidepressants.
Okay.
They're
However, let me stop you right
everything
there.
in sight and are incapable of forming actual human relationships. Sorry.
Okay, so we stop there. You've just described most single women. So the only difference there is that, like, hey, bro, you like, you know, I wish I could, because there's definitely, because there's women out there. There's good women out there. There's good guys out there, straight or gay or otherwise. So if you could find one of them, then like word up. But shout out to Chris being an awesome gay person too. There you go. There you go. Like
he is the greatest.
You know, it would seem simpler. I have to. Were you someone who was like, did you come out earlier in life or
not really? Well, by today's standards,
yeah,
no.
Right?
I was like 18.
Okay, so yeah, and the I forget where I was going with that.
Well, do you know Billboard Chris?
I've heard of him. Yeah.
He goes around and has conversations about all the trans stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because like 7 of them are married.
Gay guys don't really do the whole marriage thing.
Yeah, they just wanted those people. They just wanted gay marriage out of spite, not because any of them actually wanted to get married. What was I saying? Oh yeah, Billboard Chris though. I did some things where I went around with him and had conversations with people, and this woman came up to me and she was like, well, you probably knew you were gay from the time you were a child. I was like, no, not at all. I was like, when I was maybe like 10-ish, I was obsessed with boobs and women. And so you would have thought I was going to be the next Hugh Hefner.
Dilly.
So imagine though, if there were some sort of surgery to instill that in person, whatever sexuality you appear to be as a child is fixed for the rest of your life. It's sick.
Yeah. That's a whole rabbit hole.
Here's the thing though. I would say there are way more straight women than there are gay men. So you have more opportunities, and I feel like if you meet 10 straight women, you'll maybe get, okay, maybe not 10 different personalities. You'll get 5-6 different personalities. Gay men, you'll be lucky if it's only 9 out of 10. It is just all about conformity down to every little detail, what music you like, what interests you have, what politics you have. It is just nothing but conformity.
So do you have a lot of gay friends?
I actually do.
Why? So
I don't know. No. I have a select few.
So clearly, then there's the good ones out there, and that's what I'm
yes.
saying. Is that I think, you know, M169 say young women today are horrible unless you find a sane one. They're fewer and fewer, it seems. And so, like, yeah, the fact is, it's not gays or women. It's people fucking suck. People suck.
I suck a little bit more.
Well, the only thing I will say that as a short king, I'm only 5'4". So as a short king, I definitely would have a significant increase in at least by proportionately by mates, by being into dudes. But Alas,
I don't understand
I'm not.
why some people are so hung up on. I dated a dude who was 5'1". I'm 6 foot.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's because especially for women, it's not just that they want a guy that's taller than them. It's that they want a guy that's taller than other guys. So
That's so stupid.
5'4" is rough.
That's such bullshit. You will die alone if that's your mentality. I don't give a damn how tall someone is.
See, there you go. See, if I was gay, I might be like,
I
know. Yo.
No, they're horrible though, and I think the different. Well, I guess it's the same. Here's the thing: I think a lot of these things in sort of general society that we're seeing now have its roots in feminism and in the gay culture, and they're sort of exporting that to have been like, "Hey, this has been so positive and productive for these people. Let's get everyone to act this way."
Yeah. So Chris is saying many of us get called fake gays for not being stereotypical Hollywood big city gay, like hey, that kind of gay. And yeah, that's I can even within that type of gay person, I'd see what you're saying, because I find that manufactured feminine, like one step away from Dylan Mulvaney. It's like, bro, just because you like dick doesn't mean you gotta talk like that. What are you?
And they don't talk like that. They don't talk like that. That's the thing. The 5'1" little midget that I dated. We would be alone together and he would be totally normal. And then the moment that we're in a group of people, his voice would go up an octave and suddenly he's talking about fashion and he's snapping his fingers. I'm like, what the fuck are you? So it's so fake. It is so phony. But no, that's what I say about conformity is that it's like there are two things that gay men are allowed to be, one or the other, that either you're just a walking pride float and conform to every stereotype, or then there are the ones, which I guess is a bit of a rebellion to that. They're the ones who make a big showing out of how totally not gay they are. And it's like they act like they're so much better than you because of it. And the thing is, which
one's worse in your eyes?
They're both bad because they're both fake. They're both phony. They're not genuine. There's nothing real about either one. But the thing is, I think with gay guys, if they can't pigeonhole you into being either one of those, which is what I consider myself, good luck to you.
Makes sense. And I think again, on the left in general, that's the mentality, is that you have to be this way, and if you're not, then you're doing it wrong, and we have the right way, and anything else is bad. It's just that simple. What was oh guys, remind me what we were talking to Darian about yesterday in Discord, where I forget exactly. I think it was just generally like why were we voting for Trump when he's done so many bad, horrible things. And it's like your level of understanding of this. A guy who spends all day posting articles from the local news from where he's at, and has no idea what people think who are on the other side of the issue. It's like, bro, maybe it takes some time, instead of just reading things. Like, it's good that you're reading the news, but maybe take some time to figure out what is the other side of the issue, so that you can actually, again, do something instead of just sitting around. What's Dietrich saying here? I'm fake gay for my wife.
What?
My voice goes up and down an octave and a half, and we talk like a 5-year-old. Oh, that's not fake gay. That's called being in love. Maybe that's being in love. We don't do that shit.
Can I tell you?
Come on, that shit ain't gay.
Can I tell you the most horrible thing in the world? I've discovered a hellscape that is more of a hellscape than New York. I figured I'd just moved here, whatever. Why not? I signed up for Tinder the other day.
Oh, I haven't been on Tinder in a long time. It
is just, I mean, if you want something that will make you want to take a toaster into the tub, go on Tinder. You gotta say, I'm gonna show you this. First of all, I sign up, and like a second later, I get a notification that it's like, you have your first like, someone liked you. Would you like to see the someone who liked me?
Oh, Jesus. See, at least you get matches. I get
no matches. I get 0 matches because I think I've swiped right on nobody. Wait,
so Mike moved to Florida, from NYC to Florida.
Yes.
So
here it is.
Mike, your face when you said Tinder said it all.
So you have your first like, and this is the person who liked me.
Oh, hell no.
Yep, and that's that. The only thing I would say is lower, because there's this TikTok page that I came across where this girl in Texas, they do like a morning radio show called Second Date Update, where like went on a date with somebody and you didn't hear back, you call the radio station, they call them and they're like, hey, what happened? And the you can tell whenever they say, oh, we met on Plenty of Fish. It's just like, oh, this is going to go bad. We're about to hear some weird shit. We're about to hear some weird shit. That I think the only place lower than Tinder at this point is Plenty of Fish.
I've never had that.
Yeah, I've never gone. I'm aware of it, but no, I'm good. I'll be single for now. Let me get my money up. Let me get my weight up, and then we'll work on it. Right now, I'm doing my thing.
I've been in a little bit of my Fat Elvis era, so yeah, I'm working on myself right now.
Yeah, we all deserve it. We all deserve it. So I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I wanted to drop the link and see if anybody wanted to come up. If you are, if you're down.
Yes, totally. I'm down.
Awesome. All right, guys. So I am dropping the link to come on up. I would appreciate if you would cam up. I'm trying to think.
Oh, I got this.
Either way. But yeah, come on up and talk to us about anything. Quantac said, Indy just needs to get in a Christian dating app. Then ladies,
you would be good on there because you would like, put some pepper in their panties. And I see. That's the thing. Women make sense. Gay guys are fucking irrational. A gay guy is like a woman who is on the worst period of her life, 24 fucking hours a day.
I mean, I feel like that wouldn't that be cheating? Wouldn't that be like I don't believe in anything that you stand for or anything that this app
you let them know that because women are simple. So you let them know that and they'll be like, what? How dare you? But that's
not a bad idea. Now that you put it that way, that's not a bad idea.
Do it.
I definitely need a Christian man who's got this. Wait, he's not Christian and he is this, that, and that. You guys are onto something. You're onto something. Let's go. Let's get the pepper in the panties.
That's the thing. Women hear that and they'll like argue with you and shit. Fucking gay guys will be like, what would Christopher think? Or whatever their bitchy gay guy friends are. It's just all about image and conformity and all that.
People are loving your pepper in the panties line.
We could all use some.
Yeah, what is it? It's a Christian mingle? Is that what it is? But I'm just gonna pay for that shit. I'm not.
David, what's the other one? There's another one, I think.
Farmers out. No, that's white people. Even Christian girl. Oh, yes, I know. Yes, I know. Y'all forget.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
All right. So that's what we're doing for the after party, guys. That's what we're doing for the after party. Nobody's coming up. Nobody's coming up. Come on. The only thing else I had for you. Let me see my notes. So, I mean, we had talked a little bit about it in general. Let's see. So the Soul says there's a dating app for upstanding values without the dogma. There should be. But yeah, a woman would totally argue with you about as we know. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Shout out to Bill Bradley. Thank you so much for hanging out, brother. You have a good one. But yeah, so you talked a little bit about it, that about Trump. But you said on when you were on Timcast that you think he has a hard road ahead of him before the election. So what specifically, what makes you say that?
I don't think he's gonna. I feel bad saying this because I don't want Biden and I don't want to bum people out because there's no alternative right now. But reality
is reality, right?
I think that the Republicans right now are a little bit how Democrats were in 2016, that they are not seeing outside of their echo chamber. And I think they very much underestimate how turned off the average person is to him. Whether that's fair or unfair, it is just too much for them. It's too much. I made the worst convoluted analogy on Timcast that made no sense. However, it's like one thing too many for most people. And I think because I have family members like that, some of them voted for him last time, some of them were, but when you combine that and combine, I don't see there being any real plan, and you consider what happened last time. I hope that if he loses, we can move on to somebody else next time, whether it's Vivette, whoever, just someone new. Because to me, MAGA has always been values, policies. It's never been about one person.
Right.
So I think regardless of if he wins or loses, I think we need to start looking ahead to who will carry that on beyond him.
Agree. And I would say, you know, often on this channel, we'll talk about the difference between MAGA, well, not that often, but the difference between like MAGA and America First. And I think they're essentially, you know, the same thing, but MAGA is specifically Trumpism, and you know, it doesn't begin and end with Trump, but he's the central figure. Whereas the MAGA movement itself is just a smaller part of America First. And again, these are, you know, broadly used labels. It doesn't have a specific thing, but I would say that those are so like there's a like say a divide between like the Rhino GOP people and like the MAGA and America First people. But then there's also the America First people have slightly different disagreements with the MAGA people. You know what I mean? Oh, look who we got. We got TwiX in the building.
Hey!
Welcome to the party. Yeah, bro, that ain't gay. That
Look
ain't
at
gay.
that pretty face. That's a little gay, but look at that pretty face.
Well, you're gay. I'm just saying, baby talk with your girl is straight as straight gets. What's up, brother?
Not much. No, you were talking about plenty of fish stories. I've got one for you guys.
Let's roll.
So, before I met my wife, obviously, because I don't play that, but my wife and I met about 2 years after this incident, and I'm very happy that I didn't have too many runs like this. I had a girl that I was talking to, and she used a photo that was like 6 years old.
Yep.
And she gained some weight, no issue or anything like that. But you know, she used like the pretty blonde hair and all that and everything. She looked fantastic in her photo and everything. And then I went out to this trailer park to meet her. She had all like the wildest rainforest, like lizard or frog hair color that you could imagine. Yeah, we sat there for like 20 minutes and realized that this wasn't going too well. And then as I was leaving, I pulled out of this place onto like a main highway road, and I heard a gunshot, and I was like, "Whew, man!" I literally escaped the bullet like twice there. So yeah, nice. She was very well opinionated, and not the opinions that you know that we tend to share. So.
Yikes. Did you get off of Plenty of Fish after that?
Yeah. No, I never went back on it.
Smart man.
I had I haven't been on Tinder in so long, but the last time I was a year or two ago, I had a Tinder date with this guy who lived in my neighborhood. It was so horrible. I had to make a video telling the story. It's on my channel if anyone is interested, with this nut job liberal who I swear he must have Googled me or something like 30 seconds before, because it seemed like he was just out to get me from the beginning. But he walks up and he has the voice, and there's nothing. Gay voice is an epidemic, that he just comes up and he's like, hi. And I was like, and I could feel my balls crawl up into my body. But the rest of the time, it was like he spent the entire time just trying to like debate me and get me on something. And what a miserable night. But I got a funny video out of it.
Yeah.
There you go. Shout out to the Front Porch Conservative. So this is a great interview. Indian Jesus, this is the first time I've come across your content, and I like your style and your takes. Much success to you and to the High Harlot. See you tomorrow night. Thank you.
You are
so
awesome,
much,
dude.
brother. Feel free to hit the link and come up and join the conversation if you would like. That's another area that, you know, I just did a stream on, hey, look who we got. Let's do that Guam
Hey,
check.
dude.
Welcome to the party, brother.
What's up? What's up?
Chilling.
Good to have you on, Mike. This is awesome.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. This is amazing.
What'd you think about all this Guam tech?
Freaking awesome, man. It's always good to have new voices come in. Always good to have good people coming in and talking about what they stand for and everything like that, and just what their perspectives on everything going on these days. And it's always good to have that.
Okay. Well,
I did end up having a question though for Mike.
Please.
And it just kind of came up it was kind of random. I was just thinking about this, and we were talking about kind of like the dynamics between men and women and all this stuff, and maybe how gay men act and all that between each other. I was wondering, do you feel, Mike, like the ratio of gay men on dating apps is actually the same way that it is for men, like straight men? As in, like, the ratio where it's like, what was it, like, only 10% of straight men on dating apps are getting all the women?
Probably.
So you mean, like-
I would say it's like 1%.
So you mean like the distribution that like only the top 1% of gay dudes are getting all the matches from other gay dudes? Is that what you're saying, Mike?
I think so, because it's like, I would say 99% of them are either trans or just look like they belong on the sex offender registry or like some variation of creeper. And then the 1% are just like Greek gods, which is not my type. I like people who are kind of funny looking. So that's why I swiped that right on nobody. So maybe the Ken dolls are just kind of, they're kind of like the Stepford gays. So maybe the Stepford gays are finding each other, and hopefully the creepers are too.
Fine. Yeah. Just let them take each other over.
Yeah.
And, yeah, that's an interesting question, because I think that it would lead to answers like dealing with just all the stuff that we talk about with dating and red pill and all that stuff. How much does it follow through when we're talking about two men or two women? And the fact that the hypergamy, wanting to date up, is according to you, similarly as present in gay guys as it is in women. I think that definitely shows a very socially enforced way of thinking, that you wouldn't because you know what I mean? Like that show, it seems like everybody is being told this is the way you're supposed to act, this is the way you're supposed to think, and that's why we see everybody acting the same way, as opposed to it being organic. No? Yes, maybe.
No, I think you're right. Sorry.
Yeah, it's fair.
Yeah, and really the reason I bring it up is because it is interesting to find out kind of how these dating apps are, like the conservative thing is to always talk about like the women and the men and like how they're interacting with each other on these dating apps and whatnot, but we never hear really the other side of it, as far as like gays, lesbians, even trans and all that stuff. So I just found it would be interesting to kind of get that kind of data too, to see, is it the dating apps that are doing it? Is it the people themselves? Like, what exactly is at play here?
I think some gay conservatives are realize that this culture, the gay culture, is toxic, and so those are based ones. But some of these gay conservatives, they have their political opinions, but they haven't left the rest of it behind.
Culture.
Yeah. And they don't really, because the thing is, if you wanted to, for gay guys, especially if you're in a city or something, it's just too damn easy. It's the easiest thing in the world to just go bang someone, and that's all they do. And they don't really, because there are apps like Grindr that show people in order of distance how far away they are. You never have to speak a word to them.
I can't blame them.
You say that though because it's not the case for you. You would at least have to know someone's name. You would at least have to speak words to them. You say that, and that maybe it would be nice. Maybe straight guys think it would be nice for like a week or something.
Yeah.
but it's not, because these
That's a
people
culture.
don't realize
Yeah.
how much this has broken people's brains. They are incapable of having any sort of human connection. And I said this on Twitter recently, and these guys got so defensive and were so pissy. And I'm like, I'm not talking about if you're on that. I'm talking about collectively. This is really, really bad for people. And they got so defensive because I think they know I'm right.
That makes a lot of sense. MSC9 is saying, Mike, I first learned about you via someone who I no longer follow, a certain doctor. I'm glad you're doing great. I won't name her. Best to leave that alone. I see a smile, so I think I know. I think you know who she's talking about.
I know who she's
We definitely gonna have to talk in the after party. Yeah,
love you.
That's interesting, and it does it does make sense in this in that, like, just in the rat utopia or mouse whatever utopia experiment, that too much of a good thing definitely creates just bad a bad culture. And if I see what you're saying. So do you have any personal interest in trying to address that or fix that, or are you more just like, oh, fuck it, I'm just living my life?
The hell am I gonna do about it?
Well, you got a YouTube channel, you got a platform, you were on Timcast, you were like, hey, gays, all right, listen to me, gays, all right, stop being so goddamn gay and just go be gay on your own. I mean, that
exactly.
That would have gone viral, I think. I don't know much about the internet, but I think that would have gone viral.
Damn it. Okay, I'm going to say that when I go back.
Granny Penny says, I feel so sorry for the lesbians right now, getting kicked off their own dating apps for not wanting a girl dick. Oh, yeah, that's, I mean, the being a straight white woman right now, aside from being a straight white man, it's got to be pretty shitty.
Well, the alphabet people hate lesbians.
Oh, yeah. Please tell me more.
Well, they're trying to insist that, men can be lesbians. And it's not just, it's sort of women in general. There really has been a specific targeted push towards forcing women. Like, it seems like the gender cult, they want everybody's obedience, but they want women's submission. They are really pushing this more on women than anybody. And maybe that's because they feel like if they get women, they get everyone else comes along with them.
That does make sense.
But, just like even just the saying trans women are women, you never hear them say trans men are men. It's always targeted towards women.
Yeah. And it's surprising to me that people don't see it. Like, even people who are like, I get that, like, your average person is be like, oh, well, if they want to wear a dress, why do you have a problem with it? I don't have a fucking problem with that. That's not what the fuck we're talking about. That's one thing. If you're not really in the weeds, if you're not really paying attention. But the fact that there are people who are in the weeds, who are paying attention, who are telling other people what to think, and they still don't understand that, like, just take Leah Thomas, because she was a little bit. Excuse me, she was a little bit earlier on. There wasn't as many big names in sports, but it's like, yes, there's women who have earned that spot that Leah Thomas took, and that notion is just completely foreign to these people. They have no idea,
or they pretend not to.
And it really does seem to be too the fact that they're trying to. It almost seems like they're trying to take over women's spaces, because they feel as though women are weaker, so therefore once they do, they can go along with it. Like pretty much what you were saying, Lutch, is like, it's such a weird dynamic, because I feel like most men, they're going to sit there and they don't have to work quite as hard to defend their spaces. Like, literally, they would sit there if it was something physical, like sports or let's even just say MMA or something. There's not much you're going to have to do in order to keep that space for yourself.
Right.
Whereas women, they're going to have to work uphill the entire time.
You got an uphill battle there. Yeah. And
which is kind of funny. It's funny how the skew of the whole idea of, well, we don't need men or anything like that. And now it's like, well, it's kind of coming around to where men don't need you, and we're making our own women, and
we got AI girlfriends. We got the girlfriend experience. Let's go.
You guys are sorry. But,
That's horrible.
It is horrible.
Sad but true.
But yeah, so Chris is saying the dating apps and social media have screwed up relationships because everything is instant clicks and instant gratification. Nothing is about long term. And that's such a huge factor. You know, we talk about culture, we talk about all this stuff, that family, again, is one of those very few things that I listed that we do, in fact, very much need for a functioning society. And it doesn't have to be a man and a woman and 2 kids and whatever. It doesn't have to be that specific thing. If it's 2 dudes who are, you know, doing their thing and they, you know, adopt kids and they're normal dudes and they're good dudes, then great. If it's 2 chicks, if it's a trans and a this and it's not about who you are. But when you have, like, you know, when, like what Mike is talking about, if you have so many correlations, yes, correlation is not causation, but at a certain point, it makes sense to be like, oh, I don't trust that.
And I actually had another question too, you know, kind of going into that for Mike. Did I hear you say earlier, talking a little bit more about like how promiscuous it can be in the gay community and whatnot, kind of just like out there in the wild?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
they don't even need to go out in the wild. It's like easier than ordering Uber Eats.
Okay, well, that kind of answers my question then, because I was going to say then, on those dating apps, do you think that there is like a minority of people, or like a certain kind of person on there who's actually looking for a relationship or trying to get something more out of it?
Yeah.
And do you see like if there's any like actual movement on that front, or is it just everybody still trying to hook up like anything else?
I mean, I'd like to think there's otherwise, why don't I just, you know, off myself right now?
Right.
But I don't know. Like I said, I think it's become so normal to just, you know, only bang people, as many as possible. Nothing. It's like, especially amongst gay men, it's like relationship or love is seen as the worst thing in the. I mean, you could be with somebody months and months and months and months, and can't say you're in a relationship, but can't say you love them. And it's an entire cultural value system that needs to change. And I don't know that it will.
I kind of want to piggyback off that question, and, you know, looking at the whole aspect of like dating websites have been around for, you know, years, like almost as long as the internet's been out and people have been able to talk to each other. Yep. People have been interacting and, you know,
we use this to fuck people? Yes.
But I feel as though, you know, go get me a tinfoil hat maybe. But I think, honestly, the way that, you know, like, even as bad as it is, POV, you know, what was it, eHarmony and stuff like that, that you actually built a persona, or you actually have a bio.
Wait. Did you mean POF, like plenty of fish?
I'm sure.
Because you said POV, which is like
that might have been why I ran into that girl, is I was on the wrong website. So no, plenty of fish, not POV. Don't look that up. That might be a whole different website. But you know, as far as like all these online dating websites, it seems as though, especially, and it's not just like I don't think the whole idea is destroying, like, you know, the structure of the family and stuff like that, getting normal, you know, heterosexual people to be together, because they have things like Grindr too. Like you said, it's the Uber Eats, you know, DoorDash of getting a hookup.
But
it almost feels like that was dynamically set to disassociate communication, you know, remove the whole emotional connection of people, so we degrade ourselves to this point of, hey, you know, hookup culture is great, but you're also losing a lot of the value of actually developing relationships, developing communication skills and all that. I mean, you know, I can press 3 buttons and get myself a Subway sandwich over here, and that's pretty much seems like the same thing that you're doing, you know, with things like Tinder and Grindr.
Yeah.
So.
So, Mike, are you? So you mentioned in that long tweet about a relationship you'd gotten out of. Have you had many like long term, maybe not long term, but like official relationships?
No.
And that has to do with kind of what you're talking about, where people just aren't into that.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I honestly think, I mean, I'll never know for sure. I do. It seems like every person I date is very medicated on pharmaceutical drugs, and I swear that's what it is, because I don't think for me personally, maybe this is just me, I don't think it's normal to spend so much time, spend your every minute with someone for such a long time and then just be done with them one day, never say another word to them. Maybe that's just me. That's not how I operate. Yeah. But yeah, God, that's a whole other subject. It seems like everybody is on antidepressants. And
yeah. So Guamtech, then I want to ask you, as somebody who's recently, married and kids and going through this whole thing. How old is your daughter?
She's got 7 months now.
7 months. Dilly to that. And
she's
so
awesome.
I bet. And so the if we juxtapose these things, and we see that in the gay community there's just too much access going both ways, and then in straight relationships there's all these other games that we talk about all the time. What do you can you talk a little bit about what getting into that relationship and having a daughter and like what that kind of did to you in terms of how you look at culture and politics specifically?
Definitely the biggest thing that I realized getting into the relationship with my wife when we first met was it's going to take a lot of work on both sides. Like, to be completely honest, we were not good for each other when we first got together. But we both had a yearning for wanting to be able to have something bigger than ourselves to work towards, because basically at that time we just kind of thought it was right, and I think that it says a lot when you can go through the kind of stuff that we went through, still work towards a common goal, and really put that effort in because you want it to succeed. I do think that there's a kind of like I can't remember who said it in the comments, but there is this almost like I just get to kind of taste. I get to get whatever I want off of whoever I'm meeting and just get a taste. And if I don't like it, I get to throw it back.
The bigger, better deal.
And I think that people just have gotten way too used to that. And they need to understand that a relationship is just like anything in your life that is worth having. It's got to be worked at. Neither person's going to be perfect. And in fact, the way JBP said it, you're both incomplete, idiotic, stupid people. And maybe if you come together, you might make one whole halfway decent person.
Maybe. Yeah. I think that's Merge is like TwiX, bloody hell, he's back. He's back indeed. Yeah, and shout out to everybody saying congratulations. Of course, that is a miracle of life. And I think.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
I think what you said about we both wanted to have that. I think that's the issue with the vast majority of gay guys is they don't. They don't. And even if you are in a relationship with somebody, it's like you're in a relationship, but you can't call it a relationship, or we're basically in a relationship, or you're in a relationship, you're not my boyfriend. And I really think it goes back to what I was saying, is that when you have access to thousands of guys, there's always someone hotter, there's always someone better in different ways. Why would you get to know anyone, Yeah,
absolutely.
And I actually wonder too, and this would go for straight, gay, lesbian, whatever, if people should actually start taking a step back and like really marketing themselves as wanting that kind of thing again. I'm talking fucking shirts. I'm talking like
that's
putting it
terrifying.
out there. Yeah, it's terrifying. But there are people out there who want it. just as much as you do. And maybe it takes a little more filtering. Maybe it's going to be a little bit more work. But even like going out to a bar and having a shirt on that like has like my values on the front, what I want on the back, like, you know, I mean, there's got to be somebody out there who respects that.
I think I don't know. It's weird now that I'm sort of like facing that like even for somebody I love that. I think even for somebody like me who's so open about this sort of stuff, I still a big part of feels so ashamed, is made to feel so ashamed that I want to relate, that I want to be, I don't, not just any, because I could settle for anyone, but that I want to be in love, and that I, you know, you are gay people are made to feel more ashamed of that than anything in the world.
Really interesting. Because I thought you were talking about being gay in general, but the notion that you want love, you want something real, and again, that's the same thing. You know, same thing with women. Like the last girl I was talking to, the reason that it ended was because I talk too much. I'm like, I talk, motherfucker. That's what I do. I'm like, and I told her that. I was like, yo, is it cool? Like, I always have my phone in my hand. I have 2 jobs where I always need to be available. I talk a lot, and like, you're not gonna take that as like, oh my god, I'm in love with you, I'm obsessed with you, right? You got that, right? She's like, yeah, of course. 2 days later, you know, I think that you might be taking this too seriously, and it's like, oh my god, shut up. It's the same thing. There's shame associated not with being promiscuous, not with sleeping around, but with wanting a traditional style relationship. And when I say traditional, I don't mean even gender roles, just monogamous.
I feel like we live in this greedy drawbridge phenomenon where, you know, everybody, you're only going to let it down if it suits you. If something good is coming into you, and you're going to let everybody else have what you like, have your feelings, have your emotions and stuff like that. You're going to give all that. But when somebody doesn't share, you know, 98% or better percent of your ideals, you're just going to close it right up. And I feel like that's a huge issue with this now, is everybody's taught to be about yourself, focus on what you want, but nobody's really willing to compromise or, you know, collaborate on something that's going to make something worth working towards. Like Guamtech was saying, it is like me and my wife, like, when we started, it was rough. It was really rough, but like he said, it's something that, you know, you have to, you want to feel it with that person to build towards. My wife is my best friend, you know, and it's great that we have that, but you get into some pretty like wild ass fights with your best friends, you know, like but they're the people that stay there. And it's that promise and commitment to each other that I don't think a lot of people are really willing to be open to develop with others. And that's kind of a sad situation for anybody out there dating.
I would say, you know, obviously unmarried, and haven't been in a long time. But I would say that's a similar type of thing that makes our community something that works, is that we come here and a lot of us have very different ideas. A lot of us don't agree, and a lot of us do yell at each other and get into arguments. But we know that underlying all of that is the idea that we're all in the pursuit of what is the best way to live, what is true about like all of these things that we have in common, and it makes it work. And so that brings it all the way full circle to, you know, the original idea of the American identity, that as long as we can communicate with each other that, hey, I want the same America that you want, even though I think this, that, and that differently, we have these things that we all care about together. And I think if we could just get people to work on that goal, because it is something that people will have to work at, obviously. But if people don't know that is what they should be working towards, then how are we ever going to reach it? Granny Penny said, I've been married 28 years and counting. Shout out to that. But literally no one wants to hear how we make it work. Young people, shake my head. Well, let us know, Granny Panties, how does it work? Please. I would love to hear how it works.
I think what I wanted to say, Tricks, the flip side of what you were saying is I think something I've learned is you can't sacrifice yourself for that, and you can't lose yourself. Like, this relationship that I was in, I was told multiple times, I have to try to like you. I don't like you as much as you like me. This is one-sided. But then he'd cry and and I've been realizing how hard I got played, that he kind of liked the attention and liked being on my show and stuff. And so something I'm struggling with is forgiving myself for stupidity.
Yep.
And that's absolutely fair. And you know what? The amount of, and I've learned this from different relationships too, the amount of manipulation and games being played and stuff like that. People are getting so good at it. It's like if I go and play Call of Duty, I know I'm not going to get anywhere good because people have been working it so well that it's almost the intro scene game quality of life is that they are so good at making you feel this way, or anybody they get into that web. It seems like narcissism and people who love to play head games is on the rise. So I totally get that. And it's rough because when you want to devote yourself to somebody and you want to put yourself out there, yes, you're going to feel sometimes like it's not worth it. You're going to feel like sometimes they're not putting in that much effort, but it's really a tough toss up of whether or not you can actually perceive that person's actually giving something back or not. But overall, in the end, you got to take those shots. I mean, don't push yourself past where you can recover yourself, but definitely you have to be able to put yourself out there.
Well said, sir. Well said. Beautiful. And I completely agree. I think that that level of vulnerability is, again, it comes from a level of comfortability to know that I don't agree with you, or I don't think the same way that you are, way you do, or see whatever it is, but that's okay. And I think that if anything, if nothing else, if we can get to a place where we look at other people and we're like, okay, I don't agree, but I can work with that. Obviously, not the people who are like trans the children, but within reason. People who people who are looking for a good America, then we're all on the same team. So Guante, we're gonna close down the show. I don't want to take up too much of Mike's time here. Any parting words for the people?
Just wanted to say thanks again for coming on, Mike. That's awesome.
Thank you for having me.
Totally awesome having you here, man. Last thing I'm going to say is Jordan Peterson's working with his daughter to come out with a new dating app that's based off of psychology. So that might end up going in a strange direction, but I think it's a kind of needed thing nowadays. So
my psychology's broken.
Yeah. Well,
you'll
be able to find someone else with the broken psychology that matches up completely with yours. So.
There you go. Beautiful. All right. Well, thank you so much, brother. I will see you in the after party later.
Sir.
D-Trix, my boy. Any closing words for the people? Anything to shout out?
No, nothing to shout out. Like I said, my attendance is probably going to go down here soon around the beginning of April because that's when our new baby comes. But I will definitely try to sneak in from time to time when I'm not dealing with that. And Mike, it's honestly, I love all the new people that IJ is getting on here and everything. And you're one of them. I think you had some really great points on everything. I hope everything works well with you in Florida.
Oh, thanks.
Welcome to the Indian Jesus family, and
thank you.
You guys take care.
Let's go. Thank you, brother. You have a good one. All right. So
you guys are so awesome. You all got to come on my show.
I am definitely open to that. So I think it's just really cool that when people can just do a thing, meaning like something that whether it's a move like you did or starting a business or whatever it is, when somebody does something big, that really that's really inspiring. And so just the fact that you have picked up and picked up your whole life and moved for a better life, that is really something that's inspiring. So even if it's just a small thing to other people, it plays a part. And that's something that I talk about a lot, that we all have to play our part. We all have to do our part. And you seem to be doing the damn thing just by being you. So shout out to you.
So much. You're the best, dude.
Oh, we got one more. Shout out to Soil to Soul, who signed up for another 4 months. Saying shout out to Mike and friends tonight. There's Morty with his treat. Thank you so much. Mike, I'm going to give the floor to you. Let people know where they can find you, when your podcast, all of that good stuff. The floor, sir, is yours.
Thank you, my love. Thanks for having me. I can't wait to have you on and everyone else. You guys are awesome. Tomorrow, come hang out on my stream, MIKEroaggressed, 8 o'clock Eastern. The lovely Front Porch Conservative will be there. Follow me on the Twitter, not Mike Harlow. My channel is Mike Harlow. And yeah, support this beautiful Indian bastard.
Hey, there we go. Thank you so much. And again, oh my goodness, a last minute from Guam Tech coming out. Let's see if we can get him on camera here. There we go. Thank you so much, guys. Of course, we had Zippy, we had Soil to Soul, and Guam Tech. Of course, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much. Shout out to Gwayne Redsky coming in late. Said, we got another one here that said Trump got his fans paying his fines now. A billionaire who's asking others to pay his way. Trump also claims his Hotel Mar-a-Lago is worth $1 billion, even 1.5. Completely baseless. Interesting. Well, I think if we were a little early in the night, we might dive into that. But come back. What day is it? 2 days and Wednesday, whatever. Right? Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Where are we? No, thank you so much. Of course, you guys know that we are headed right over to the after party. It is free. To join the Indian Jesus Discord server. But if you want to be part of the after party, do join the membership on the channel here. Send me a DM and you'll be right in the party. Thank you again, Mike. It was such a pleasure having you. I really, really, really appreciate you coming through. And I hope to do this again soon.
Hell yes. Can't wait to have you on. Thanks so much for having me.
All right, guys. You have a good one. Once again, this is Morty, and I have been your host, Lutch, a.k.a. the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Until next time, guys, we are out of here. Peace.